What up, you guys? Today we're talking about cars. I'm gonna walk you guys through the gear you'll need, how I find locations, the filming techniques I use, and the shots that I always get. I've been filming cars for over 3 years now, and these are the exact methods I use to ensure I get maximum coverage and maximum quality. The first thing we're gonna talk about today is the gear. Right here is the rig that I use 90% of the time when filming cars. Now, you don't need the nicest gear ever, and you don't need the gear that I have specifically, but you are gonna need a few things. That being a camera, a stabilizer like a gimbal, or even a glide cam if you're old school. Obviously, your camera's gonna need a lens, and you're gonna need 2 filters, a variable ND filter and a CPL or polarizer. Now, honestly, in my opinion, the polarizer is the more important of the two, and that might be a hot take, but your polarizer is gonna change the game. It's gonna allow you to cut reflections off of the car's paint and windows and lower the exposure in your all-around shot. So if you're shooting cars without a CPL, you need to get one. It will change your shots. One of the most important things when filming cars is smooth motion. Jittery and shaky footage has its place in videos, but the majority of your shots are gonna be clean, nice, and smooth. Really, the goal with this rig is to get clean and smooth shots and to be able to move fast. Up next, we're talking about locations. Now, this is a hack that I started doing about 1.5 years ago, and it is awesome. I don't know if anyone else does this, but I scout my locations using Google Earth. You can literally go anywhere you want to shoot and zoom in, check out the location, as well as drop the street view pin, and you can be on the ground, spinning around and looking at that location in all the angles. This is a super useful tool when you're planning locations and shoots because locations matter for cars. You aren't gonna wanna take a Honda Civic on a dirt road, but you would wanna film a truck on a dirt road in the mountains. Making the location specific to the cars you're shooting really is another hack that I utilize. Things I'm always looking for when scouting locations, whether that's in person or on Google Earth, is a safe spot to pull off and get stationary shots, as well as a good spot to do rollers. Usually I look for 2-lane roads so we can get over and film the car from different angles in different lanes. I also use an app on my phone called Sun Tracker, and I use this to determine where the sun is gonna be at so I can know before I get to the location how I'm gonna place the car and if the background even looks good in the first place. So to recap, I use Google Earth all the time when scouting locations. I'm always looking for clean backgrounds, minimal distractions, as well as terrain that fits the type of car I'm filming. I'm looking for good roads to do rollers on and a safe pull-off to be able to film stills. Scouting your location before your shoot is one of the most important things. More than half the video is where you film it at. So make sure you do your homework, you get on Google Earth, scout your locations, so you know how you're gonna shoot the video before you even show up. All right, moving on to the fun part. These are the shots I always get when I'm filming cars. First off, we're gonna talk about rollers. Now, I've already done a video on rollers, but these are the bread and butter of cars. If you're filming cars and you don't film rollers, you're missing a huge aspect of the car. What does a car do? It drives. You need to film it driving. There are a ton of ways to film rollers, but the way that I do it the most often is hopping in the back of an SUV or a truck, strapping myself in, and running my gimbal and filming the car. It's really an easy thing to do as long as you make sure you talk to both drivers of the car that you're filming and the car that you're in to make sure they have good communication and they are aware of how to drive when you're in the back. This can be dangerous, so safety has to be a priority for you. Another quick tip for rollers, always film in 24 frames per second for these, but it'll give you a really nice motion blur on the road and it'll make it look like you're going faster than you really are. The next type of shot are stationary shots. Now, this goes without saying, the car is stationary. It's not moving. This is really useful for getting intro, establishing shots, big wide angles of the car, push-ins, pull-outs, and also for details and interiors. In my opinion, cars look best when they're filmed at longer focal lengths. It's fun to throw wide shots in there, but when you get up close and you get really good details of all the intricate designs on the car, the features of the car, nothing sells a car better than its features, and it's important to highlight those details. The next 2 categories of shots are more fun. They're dynamic shots and creative shots. Now, the only type of dynamic shot that I use would be me being on the exterior of the car and having the car just drive past me a few times. And I'll crouch down and I'll film it from the road. I'll film wide, I'll film tight, I'll film medium. That's really the only dynamic shot I go for, are those out of car exterior driving shots. Moving on to creative shots. Some of my favorite shots are in this category, but you should only do this category if you've covered the basics. You need rollers, you need your stationaries, and you need your dynamics as well. Some of these creative shots include FPV shots. I fly FPV. I love throwing that in there. It's super fun for me. Another shot would be slow shutter or transition shots, getting in the grass, filming some slow shutter of the car moving. You can use those as cut-ins, transitions. They're really great shots. Two other fun creative shots I've been experimenting with are suction cup mounting an action camera to the outside of the car to focus on features as the car drives, as well as shooting on a 10mm lens wide and just getting a really wide and cool, unique perspective on the car. Now, those are just some ideas for creative shots. Of course, they're supposed to be creative, so have fun and spice up your edits and get some cool shots. In my opinion, the next thing we're gonna talk about is the most important, and it's technique. You could have the nicest cameras in the world and the worst technique, and your video would be terrible. It's important to remember that gimbal work isn't about moving fast, it's about being smooth. And sometimes that's slow. Take your time, really repeat these shots until you get them, because you will thank yourself in the edit. Some technique tips for gimbal work would be using a ninja walk, being really light on your feet and just trying to glide over the ground. Essentially what you're doing is you're trying to remove that up and down or that fourth axis of movement that you can often get when using a gimbal. Another gimbal tip I have for you is to set your gimbal speed to a custom setting, and I put mine at speed 5. It's really slow, but it helps you get smooth and buttery shots. When filming, make sure you film a little bit wider than is necessary. You can always crop in later and reframe, as that's really important. Up next, we're talking about angles. These are the things that give your edit life. I'm constantly getting wides, mediums, and tights or detail shots of everything on a car. Now, the angles really apply mostly to the stationary shots, but they also apply to rollers as well. When you're doing rollers, make sure you get a wide and a medium and a tight, and you'll thank yourself in the edit. When it comes to angles, the most important thing is to just get a variety. If you do this, you'll be able to cut the video into anything you want it to be. These are the methods I use every time I film cars. They're simple, repeatable, and effective, and I hope they help you at your next car shoot. Drop a like if you enjoyed this video, and drop me a comment if there's anything else you want to learn about, and I'll catch you then.